Okay, you guys, so I actually figured out what was going on, and what was going on is that the mini scenes, the like 2 to 3 sentence mini scenes that you do to spam an event and build stats with a specific character, well, those are randomly generated, but the big events that those trigger, or like the bigger scenes, those are like kind of a formula effect and stay the same, like when you hit them. So what I was going to actually do is after each time a mini scene occurs, I'm going to give you my playthrough. So I'm going to let it play, and then at the end of it, I'll just tell you like what I got, so you get an inside look at the character and like what the mini scenes usually are. And you'll be getting like basically my playthrough that I already translated. And then the rest of it will be word for word, like on point, they're roughly translated through apps. Because I just checked and played ahead on the one that I'm streaming for you guys, and that's how it worked. Like, it's just the mini scenes, the 2 to 3 sentence ones that you spam. And those actually do repeat, and I do have, like, a lot of them translated already, because when I was going through and doing it, it was just they were out of order. So I'll go on ahead and, like, give them to you at the end of each one that I got, and then just know that they're rearranged and that they, like, repeat throughout when you're doing this, even on, like, other people's routes. And this is the beginning of Nightmare's route, you guys. I just wanted to explain what happened and like what we're going to be doing from here on out on routes. And I did save it from where we left off in the last video. And this is it. So we're gonna spam Nightmare.
Ah, 眠い。寒いのも困るが、暖房の効かせすぎも仕事に支障が出て困る。なんだその目は。言い訳じゃないぞ。グレイもそう言っていた。
So that one, actually, I do have it translated, and that was the right one, for what it was supposed to be. He's like, oh, it's like a lot of snow if you hide in that, and he's talking about hiding from Gray, and then the next time you talk to us, like, it is cold and we may really die if we do that, but, if you're not out in that, then you would get caught by Gray, and then it fades out. So that was nice. Here we go, you guys. Another one.
雪の上ではうかうか吐血もできん。理由か？隠れてもすぐに見つかってしまうからだ。結婚をたどられるとどうしようもない。冬とは不便な季節だと思わないか
？Okay, so what I actually got the last time was that he was talking about how he got sick in the snow the last time, and it was so bright that he was surprised that it was he that did it, and then he was like, the contrast between white and red is excellent and even, and then it faded out. It's like, I doubt that was the same one there, but if it was, I'd be surprised. Okay, spamming him again.
何を驚いている？ああ、服が汚れていたか。さっき咳込んだら吐血してしまってな。夜の時間帯に会うとホラーのようだと。確かに自分でも鏡を見たら怖い。
Okay, so like for that one, when I did it, I got, oh, I'm sleepy. I don't want to be cold, but too much heating can be like a problem for my work. So like too much of like heat in the room can be a problem for my work. And then like he last said like, what does that look for? No excuses. Grace said it was fine. So what? That's what I got for my playthrough, that spam.
この時間帯は休みだ。休み。こう寒くては仕事にならん。なんだって？寒くなくても仕事なんてしないくせにって？そんなことは。 そんなことないぞ。ないんだ。ないったらない。
I can tell you that right there he was saying like no, 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 and then like at the very beginning he was talking about like Yasumi is like a rest or like a relaxation vacation, so like yeah. But what I actually got for that one was, it's too cold, you have to be careful about your physical condition, and if you do not manage your physical condition when you work, it will not be a good story. And then he's like, me, I'm fine, I'm great, and then it's supposed to fade out.
何を驚いている？ああ、服が汚れていたか。さっき咳き込んだら吐血してしまってな。夜の時間帯に会うとホラーのようだと。確かに自分でも鏡を見たら怖い。
So for my playthrough, I actually got winter needs a hot dish. Warm food? No, it's gotta be hot. And then he was like, if it's so cold, it'll quickly cool down at a warm level. It must be hot. And he's like, now, Ellis, I'm gonna ask, can you make something? And he was like, what would you make? And the playthrough that I did, you actually had a choice. And I chose like the soup flour, which he got really excited about. And he was like, soup powder, good, good, it looks warm. And he's like, what? Instead, can I take the medicine after meals? And he was like coughing, and he's like, I understand. And then he was like, but I don't want you to try to make some strange trick done up on the soup flour. He's like, I want to eat a dish that doesn't taste like a drug. Because Gray's always like bringing him these concoctions that he says are healthy, and he dumps a bunch of like cold medicine and other stuff in it. It's gross. And then that's where mine had faded out. You can tell that they're like all different, but these things like go in rotation and they repeat.
ああ、眠い。寒いのも困るが、暖房の効かせすぎも仕事に支障が出て困る。なんだその目は。言い訳じゃないぞ。グレイもそう言っていた。
Anyway, the one that I got for that spam was like, this time is supposed to be break time. He's like, take a break. And then he's like, what is it? Why don't you just like try to take a break at work? And then he's like, are you getting cold? And then he's like, no, no, no hospital for me. And then he's like, no, no, no. And then it fades out. And then if this is like my playthrough, or if it's like still counting the one that we stopped at in the middle the last time, then like we should be triggering like an event soon. So yeah.
Oh, だいぶ雪が積もっているみたいだな。あの中に身を隠せばっていう。寒くて本当に死んでしまうかも。いや、しかし、あの中ならグレイをやり過ごせるんじゃ。
Mine was like, Gray was looking for me? Well, I don't know how to depend on you, because he was trying to hide from him. He was like, did you tell him where I am? Because he's like, he's not here yet. And then he was like, well, let's work together because it's okay. And he's like, let's hide, ... He's like, you don't know what I'm hiding behind. Say it like that. And then it fades out. So this may or may not trigger the event. This one right here. Yes, it did. Awesome. So it was just like my playthrough, the formula. Just those little spamming scenes are different. So here's the event, word for word translated. She's like, a spacious meeting room within Clover Tower. She's like, here where the territories of all of the role holders have come together, they are quiet now. She's like, it is a conference room for accommodating many people. And she's like, I don't know the meaning of them talking here. She's like, huh? ... Although I am good at keeping my heating, my feet get cold. Even in the hall, the bottom of them still got cold. She's like, the warm air gathers upward, and their faces are blurred. My feet are cold. She's like, it is an environment that cannot be said to be suitable for thinking because my head gets too warm.
それでは会議を始める。
Nightmare's like, everyone is in now, so let's start the meeting. ...
今回の議題はズバリ雪祭りについてだ。
He tells everyone that the agenda is all about the snow festival. And she's like triple exclamation marks. She's like, snow festival?
いい感じです、ナイトメア様。
Gray's like, ... nice, Nightmare-sama.
そうか、そう思うか。
Nightmare's like, oh, is that so? Is it? Like, did I do a good job?
その域です。今のうちにたくさん練習しておきましょうね。
Gray's like, yeah, that's the spirit. Let's practice a lot now.
今度こそ大舞台で議長を務める際につつがなく進行ができるように。
He's like, this time, ... like now. You can make progress as you gear up for the big stage.
任せておけ、グレイ。私にできないことはない。私は偉いんだからな。
Nightmare's boasting. He's like, oh, leave it to me, Gray. There's nothing I can't do. She's like, ... I see, like, what's going on here. And she just tells them directly. She's like, don't use people for rehearsals, ...
くだらん。どうせいくら練習したところで同じだ。
Julius is like, anyway, no matter how much you practice, it's gonna be the same, ...
いや、まずは少人数の場で鳴らせば少しはまともに。
Gray's like, first, if you get used to a small group, ... it's a little more decent, ...
なると思うか。
And Julius just asks him, do you really think so?
そのはずだ。それを期待している。
Gray's like, ... that should be so. I mean, I look forward to each attempt.
予行演習などいくらしたところで無駄だろう。いざとなったら緊張でガチガチになるに決まっている。
And then Julius is like sniping at him. He's like, huh, it's a waste of practice. If it happens, it is decided that it will tend to be a tense event.
この芋虫の上がり症がちょっとやそっとで改善されるものか。
He's asking if this worm is a little more upset easier, or a little upset easier this time than usual.
何を根拠に？
Nightmare cuts in and he's like, on what grounds are you saying this? ...
肝心の場になればなるほど上がるだろう、お前は。少人数の知り合いに選ぶるくらいがせいぜいのところだ。
Julius's response is, the more important you are, the more you'll rise. You. And then he trails off, ... And he's like, it's just best for you to get acquainted with a very small group of people. And Nightmare's just gurgling over there because he's pissed.
本来は選ぶるまでもなく十分に偉い身分をお持ちなんだ。いいから協力してくれ。
Gray's like, I don't think it's great, but it's big enough. Like, please cooperate with us. Like, his authority and, like, his, like, social respect. He's like, it's not great, but it is big enough.
そうだ、協力しろ。私は偉いんだぞ。
Nightmare tries boasting again. He's like, yeah, that's right, I'm great. And then she cuts in. She's like, Julius, let Nightmare practice this person's speech. And she's like, it's really bad. You just remember and want to hold your head. I mean, his voice was so thin that it was hard to hear, and even the opening remarks could not be said clearly by him. She's like, I can say this now because of us being relatives. Like, I'm part of the complete inner circle, ... And she's like, as Julius says, his indication is accurate. However, if he practices, and she means nightmares, she's like, I have a little expectation. She's like, Gray wasn't the only one that felt sad at this meeting. She's like, ... Or he's
ではさっさと話を進めろ、ナイトメア。
Julius is like ... after she said that. Now, let's go on ahead and let him talk. Go on ahead, Nightmare.
ただでさえ仕事を中断して付き合ってやっているんだ。さっさと終わらせる気遣いぐらい言われるまでもなくしてみせろ。
And he's commenting kind of backhand. He's like, even so, I suspend my job, and he's like, to go out with each of you. And then he's like, let's wait for the care to be done to end this as soon as possible.
なんでお前そんなに偉そうなんだ？時計や、今はお前も私の塔の住人なんだからな。
Nightmare's like, why are you so great, watchmaker? Now you're also a resident of my tower, aren't you? Like, exclamation mark question.
ドアがつながっているだけで私はお前の塔に住んでいるわけではない。そこのところを間違うな。
He actually comments on this, and he's like commenting on the doors and how they're related. He's like, I'm not living in your tower. Just because the doors are connected, don't get it twisted or wrong.
だが同じ冬を共有している。
And he's like, but we share the same winter season.
それに会合だってお前も他人事とはいかないぞ。今度は参加することになるかもしれないだろ。
Nightmare's like, and even at a meeting, like, he's like, you're questioning my authority. Are you more important? And then he's like, maybe you will join this time.
そうだぞ時計や。ナイトメア様はスピーチに時間をかけすぎだが、逆にお前がやると短すぎだ。
They're so, like, sniping children, because he's like, that's right, Watchmaker. Nightmare takes time to give at least a speech. I bet if you do it, it's too short.
あんなに短くては何のために集まったのかわからないだろう。
Gray's like, it's so short that you don't know what it is that you even gathered here for.
ありもしない議題のために時間を割く意味がわからない。さっさと終わらせた方がいいだろう。
Julius is like, I don't know what it means to spend time here for an agenda. Isn't it better to just finish everything up quickly?
いつもそうだが今回もそうだ。どうせくだらない案件だろう。とっとと終わらせろ。
Julius comments, always, always. But this time too, I mean, it's just a ridiculous deal. Just say that the event is over. It's over. ... And she's like, always. She's like, they gather as many as they can and then dissolve these events without any particular decision. And then just like having this meeting, it derails you as like they like. And the meetings I attend are also empty. She's like, but I don't participate usually, ... She's like, this was the first time that Nightmare sponsored, and I don't know what is always then, ... She's like, I was interested in this when they talked about a meeting that I didn't know about. And at the same time, ... She's like, I know now, and I'm sorry. But let's make it a common topic, like something different. Thinking this way, I'm thinking that it's also that what they're discussing is a childish topic. She's like, hey, other than that, what is the snow festival? Like, what do you want to do for that? She's like cutting in on this.
ああ、そうだ。雪祭り。雪祭りをするんだ。
And Nightmare's like, oh yes, the snow festival.
冬になったからには雪祭りをしなくては。それが冬の決まりというものだ。
He's like, because it is winter, we do have to have a snow festival. He's like, that's the winter rule. And she actually asked, she's like, ... is this actually a rule?
いや、特にそんなルールはない。振り分けられた季節自体が行事のようなものだから。
And Gray cuts in. He's like, no, there is no such rule. He's like, he's lying. The distributed seasons themselves are like the actual events, which are the only rule. And she's like, then, And then she trails off. Winter is decided, ...
ナイトメア様の思いつきだ。
And he's like, the winter theme idea is Nightmare's idea, ... And she's like, ... back. And then she's like, Nightmare, because that's his name.
楽しそうだからいいだろう。行事とは領主が指示して行うこともできるものだ。
He's like, well, it's good because it's fun, and an event is something that a lord can tell people to do and then go and do it.
雪祭りをやる。私が決めたからにはやる。やると言ったらやるんだ。
He's like, I'll do a snow festival. I will do it because I decided I will do it. She's like, ... And she's like, the snow festival on such a weak body, ... She's like, just from the name, it might be an event where you can play with snow outdoors. It is not a good suggestion by a man who is always in poor health. Like, it's a very bad suggestion. And she's like, absolutely, it's the people around you that enjoy it, and Nightmare also, ... She's like, I'm sure that he'll get a cold, but I'm self-confident that it'll be fine. She's like, ... She's like, it's a ... sneak peek ... at us ... And she's like, a prediction. She's like, the earlier prediction is too easy to come true ... And I'm tired of creating negativity. Gray just sighs here. And she comments, she's like, Gray seems to have given up and sighed without appealing against this. And she's like, I was thinking the same, but there was a man who wasn't convinced like we were.
それはつまり私も参加しろということか。
Julius gets mad. He's like, does this ... Does this mean that I have to participate?
ああ、もちろん。だからこうして席についてもらっているんだ。この領土にいる以上はお前にも参加してもらうからな、時計屋。
Gray's like, oh, of course. That's why you have a seat here. And as long as you're in this territory, you'll have to participate too.
断る。
He's like, I refuse ...
却下だ。お前が断るのを断る。
Nightmare's like, rejection! I refuse to refuse you. Alice is like, Nightmare says something like a child.
お前の存在自体を断りたい。
And Julius tells him that I just want to refuse you.
バカを言うな。くだらない催しに付き合うなど冗談じゃないぞ。
And he continues by saying, like, don't say something so stupid. This is not a joke.
そう言わずに付き合ってやってくれ。
Gray finally cuts in. He's like, don't say that.
そんな義理はない。ルールに沿うだけでも面倒だというのに、そんなものに付き合っていられるか。
Julius comments that there is no such law that he has to follow, and even if you just are following the rules, can you not get by with just along doing that?
そんな暇があるなら私は仕事をしていたい。邪魔をするな。
And then he's like, if I have to do such a thing to, like, pass the time, he's like, I want to actually work, and don't get in my way.
それを言うなら俺だって溜まっている書類をどうにかしたい。
And Gray cuts in. He's like, if you're saying that, then I'd just like to collect some papers instead.
付き合え、時計屋。俺だけ仕事が溜まるのは納得いかない。
And here they actually snipe at each other, and it's really kind of like, what? Because, like, she's not with anybody. And then, yet they're, like, still sniping at each other. Because he cuts in and he's like, ... dating watchmaker. He's like, I'm sure that's I'm sure that's the thing that I can get done. And then, I think he's saying, like, not the only thing that I can get done compared to you. And Julius has no response at first.
はい、トカゲめ。
And then he calls him by his role name. He's like, Lizard. And she's like, oh, hold it down. Because she's like, oh, he's mad. Because she noticed that Julius's hand stretched over the ashtray on the table. And she's like, he does not smoke. It's not hard to imagine what you're going to do with that ashtray, Julius. She's thinking. And she's like, hey, cutting in, like, what exactly do you do at this snow festival? It can be anything if you're involved with snow, ... And she, like, changed the subject. A gentle and cheerful voice uttered in a harsh atmosphere.
Oh, 君は乗り気なんだな。そうだろうとも。君なら乗ってくれると思ったんだ。
Nightmare's like, oh, you're crazy about it, Alice. Even if you're an outsider, you'll get on board with this. He's like, I thought you'd be crazy about it. She's like, no, think of your physical condition first. I mean, before who gets on, ... And she's like, because I'm annoying you all around. She's thinking him. She's like, it's because he's annoying all around. She's like, Nightmare always reads this idea, but only reads this absently. She's like, conveniently, you may be pretending that you just don't hear it. And she's talking about him.
雪祭りはいいぞ。今ならリクエストは何でも聞いてやれる。君のリクエストならどんなものだって叶えてあげよう。
Nightmare's talking about the snow festival. He's like, it's good. And he's like, now you can ask me anything about this under this request. She's like, whatever you say, ... What are you going to do at this festival? She's asked a couple times.
なんだ、知らないのか？雪祭りというのは雪で像を作らなくてはいけないんだ。
He cuts in and he's like, why don't you already know, Alice? And he's like, the snow festival requires you to make a statue of snow.
いえ、ナイトメア様、別に行けないというわけでは。
Gray's like, Nightmare, I can't be separated, ... And he was gonna say from work. She's like, snow? Make a statue, ... Question mark. She's like, snow has been falling all around the tower since winter started here, and there's so much outside. She's like, snow like a snowman?
いや、大きさ的にはそうだが、雪だるまよりももっと芸術的なものだ。
Gray's like, yes, in all but terms of size. He's like, it's more artistic than a snowman. And he's like, or yes, in more, but, he's like, in terms of size, but more artistic than a snowman. And he's like trailing off, ...
もっと凝ったもので、当然凝れば凝るだけ作る時の難易度も上がる。
He's like, it's more elaborate, ... And he's like, of course, if you make it elaborate, it's harder to make.
雪の強度とバランスを考えて作らなくてはいけないからな。仕上げには細かい作業が多い。
And Julius kind of cuts in with this random remark. He's like, you have to do it in consideration of the strength and balance of the snow you're using. And he's like, there's a lot of fine work to finish it. And he's like an absent-minded, like, just professional response about how to build one. And he's like, even if it piled up properly, the balance would be lost and collapse, so planning and prudence will be important. She's like, eh? She's like, I get imagery, though it's kind of dim. Since planning and carefulness are required, detailed work, ... She's like, Julius seems to be good at this. In that respect, Nightmare, even though he took the initiative, seems not to be very good at anything. She's like, it's only more troublesome if you feel bad about it, so try to avoid his reading it as much as possible. Watch out for that.
私が説明しようとしたこと。私の発案だぞ。説明くらい私に譲れ。横取りするんじゃない。
He's like, what I was trying to do is explain. It's my idea. Give it to me for explanations. And he's like trying to cut in on them because he's mad.
では最初から最後までお前が話すといい。
Julius is like, then it's good, or he's like, then do it right from the beginning.
私はもう部屋へ帰る。
And he's like, I will return to my room now, ...
あ、おい、ちょっと待て。誰も帰っていいとは。
So he gets cut off by choking and coughing, but basically he told them, oh, hey, wait a minute, no one should be able to leave. And he's like, ...
ナイトメア様、落ち着いてください。叫ぶか血を吐くかどちらかにしないと。
Gray's like, Nightmare, you have to calm down. If you scream or vomit blood, ... And she's thinking a snow festival, ... I'm really looking forward to it, ... Ignoring everything in the room. Because this happens, like, frequently. And she's like, the organizer here, I wonder if the event can be held safely. Because it's Nightmare, ... And the event ends. We're gonna actually end this video here. I have more for you guys. It's like another event that happens right after this between her, Julius, and Nightmare. So I'm gonna go on ahead and save it right here. Whoa, here we go. And save. There we go.